Google Cloud is touting itself as a tool to make companies better. ZDNet's Tiernan Ray is here with me. Tiernan, what does Google mean by this? This is a really broad statement for a company to make.
Yeah. The question is, what role does a large company like Google that does so many things well have to play in various industries like banking and healthcare and retail? And it sort of straddles the line because at some point you can be telling a company their own business. So in the interview that we did with Laurie Mitchell Keller and Lisa O'Malley, Laurie Mitchell Keller is the Vice President of Industry Solutions for Google Cloud, which is one of the three largest cloud companies. And Lisa O'Malley is the senior product manager. So these two individuals were telling me we are not looking to take over the business of a healthcare provider or a hospital network, a retailer like Macy's. We're simply trying to provide them with some tools so that they can focus on the things that they do better. So for example, if you're at Macy's and you're designing a search engine, somebody comes to your website and they want to search for dog costumes. And what they would typically have gotten from Macy's on the website was some clothes for humans that had images on them of dogs. And so what they were not able to find was a costume that you can put on your dog for Halloween. But actually, Macy's has this particular item in stock. So they worked with Google, and now their online catalog actually does reflect dog costumes if you search for it. So the search experience has been improved. And so the point that is made by both Macy's and by Google is if you use their search function, ta-da, your search gets better, but we're not taking over things such as merchandising where Macy's makes the decision about what they're buying. So it's this really interesting discussion of where do the core competencies lie for a company that is in a particular industry, and then what is the part that Google does to presumably let them focus on those core competencies while taking away the drudgery, the routine work that they might not be as good at, such as we're going to have a catalog and we're going to make it really, really accessible and really usable.
Okay, so what Google is saying is say I'm really good at this, this, and this, but Google is really good at this, this, and this. And so if you hire Google, you can continue to be really good at your this, this, and this. Google can be better at what they're good at, and it can make you an exceptional company overall.
That's the idea, is that they're going to let you focus more of your individual executive's ability, your staff's ability on things that are core to what that industry is. So if you're in banking, managing assets is presumably not a function yet of Google's algorithms. You still need to be having a sense of financial markets and of assets that's very particular, that can't be turned into a broad tool that could be used by many parties. However, it may be that things like client onboarding, where you bring in new clients to prime brokerage or to wealth management, is a general function that could be done much better by a tech firm. And that could be a broad industry solution, to use an overused word, for a lot of banks, a lot of financial institutions. So that seems to be the kind of division of labor that Google is imagining.
That's interesting. And when you think about it, you either trust Google or you don't trust Google with your data. And in this day and age, that is something people are concerned about. So you mentioned Macy's earlier. Say I have given Macy's my data, but I didn't consent to giving Google my data because I gave Macy's my information. Is that something I need to worry about?
Yeah, Laurie Mitchell Keller and Lisa O'Malley make the point that Google is not having its hands in the first party data, that is the data that companies collect from their customers directly. And it's an important issue because, as you point out, there are both privacy issues, there are regulatory issues, there are compliance issues. And ultimately, this data is the province of the company, such as a bank or a retailer, that is presumably going to make them much better. And so I think over time, this is a fluid area where we'll see just how much of that data ends up enabling algorithms that are broadly applicable to different companies, and how much of it remains kind of the secret sauce. If a Walmart or a retailer like Macy's has customer data that is very revealing of preferences, then that is something that ultimately has to probably remain their capability, that you shouldn't be able to extract for other companies. And so it's probably a sensitive and a contentious issue that will continue to evolve over time, just how it's supposed to be used.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have I don't think I would have thought twice about giving my information to someone and then thinking, oh, yeah, they most likely have a cloud provider. Am I comfortable with their cloud provider also having my information?
The theory is that they want all of your data for many reasons. One of it being lock-in. If you're Macy's and you give your data to Google, then ultimately you're kind of locked into Google because they have your data. So these, I mean, it's a very, very, very messy kind of topic, because you could probably do a whole feature on what do these different companies, cloud companies, say they're going to do, and what do they actually do. So yeah, it's a pretty sensitive kind of thing.
All right, Tiernan, always a very interesting and thought-provoking story from you. We have his article linked right down below to make it super easy for you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stick with ZDNet for all things tech.